Jason Danger here. I'm making this video, please stand by, specifically for a certain me, Mr. Mayo. This is for you, buddy. I've been watching your videos for a while now, and I'm hooked. I don't know why, no idea why, but I like the videos. And I know you're a huge Beatles fan, a Beatles nut, really. You're a Beatles nut, let's be honest. But I totally respect that because I grew up listening to all those great bands. I like the Beatles, not as much as you do. I don't know anybody who likes the Beatles as much as you do. But I am a huge Rolling Stones fan. So, which I think, you know, I have to, gotta say, man, I think the Stones might be a little bit better. I don't know. Certainly a better live band, which I'm going to challenge you with. Certainly a better live band. Probably the best live band ever. Probably the best live band ever. With maybe Zeppelin being a close second. Beatles were a great band, but they were not a great live band. You know that's true. The Stones, however, were the greatest effing live band that ever played. So, I've never done a record video. I have a few records. I love music. Always have loved music. But I agree with so much of the things you say. Again, I like the Beatles quite a bit as well. Again, not nearly as much as you do, but I was listening to videos. I specifically love the ones where you go off on modern music. I love those ones because I feel exactly the same way. You know, I'm not even an old guy or anything, but you know, I grew up listening to, you know, even the new music then was like, you know, Guns N' Roses, which were great bands. You know, Guns N' Roses and The Crew and you know, those sort of bands, and Def Leppard and those sort of bands in the 80s. I liked that sort of stuff when I was growing up as a kid. But you know, I mean, come on, you're gonna tell me this crap they put out today is made by? I'm gonna rant worse than you are. With the computers and it's just crap. It's crap. They don't even play an instrument. Did you see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction? Look, I respect NWA. Don't get me wrong, and I know they were greatly influential. I understand that part of it. But when you get up on the stage, right at the end of it, everyone's doing the ensemble, and you got the great musicians from Chicago up there with these great voices and great musical abilities, and you got Cheap Trick Roll up there, who's one of the best live bands ever, and they're rocking out together, and it's phenomenal. And you're like, where the fuck is NWA? Oh, right. They can't do anything. They can't play an instrument. They can't sing. What are they going to do? I'm sorry, that's not a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. You can argue with me if you want. It isn't. I'm not saying they're not a great artist. They're not great artists, but it's different. It's not the same thing. Music is meant to be experienced live. Period. If it doesn't transfer live, period, it's something else. I don't know what it is. It's an art form. It can be poetry. Call it whatever you want to. But it's not that. Like, you should go to a concert, a live performance, or even if you're listening to it in your car, but you should feel those hairs standing up here on your arm. The exchange between the audience and the band, right? Isn't that the whole point? Doesn't it go back to our ancestors who were beating on drums and things? Like, that's organic. That's, you can feel that, right? You can market all you want with your shit computer sounds and this lyrics don't make any sense unless you like, you know, just simple vulgarity for the sake of vulgarity. I don't quite understand that. But to me, that's not real music. I mean, my personal favorite, Mr. Mayo, I think you'll agree with me, is that raw, dirty, soul-infused, blues-infused, dirty, gritty, nasty blues rock and roll, right? So a little bit of Chuck Berry, a little bit of you know, old blues like John Lee Hooker and Muddy Waters, and put it all together, some soul in there, and really what you have is the Rolling Stones, which happens to be my favorite band. So that brings me to this. I want to show you the albums I have, me and Mr. Mayo. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is, virtually none of these albums are anywhere near the good of shape that you keep yours in, because you're Mr. Mint when it comes to these albums. I don't know how you do it. I don't really care about any of that shit. I like just listening to the albums, and I love to hear the record spin. I even like it if it crackles a little bit. I just love that. So I want to show you what I have. And I have, you know, a shit ton of music of the Stones on my iPod and that sort of thing. I listen to those too, but I got CDs. I even got tapes still. I just like music, records, and again, within the last couple of years, I've gotten into records. So, anyway, first one, buddy. Again, I'm not the professional here. You are, but here you go. Live if you got it, or live if you want it. I got it. So, again, I'm not going to go through the same thing you did. I just want to show you. As you can see, it's mangled. I know this is going to hurt your feelings, but it's mangled. That's okay. And I know I touched the outside thing. I know you're against that. It's not in shrink. I know this hurts your feelings. But that's what it is. And I'm not going to open up every single one of them like you do. Tattoo You, 1981, baby. I don't know how you feel about this one. I like this album. It's pretty good. Again, I like their live stuff the best because to me, again, the Stones were and are still. I've seen them twice in the last, 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years when they were touring. And I've seen them about 5 or 6 times total. Still, my top 5, and I've seen a lot of concerts. My top 5 are all the Stones in a row. Anyhow, Tattoo You. Good. Next. Big hits. High Tide and Green Grass, baby. I mean, this is the original 1966 version. Again, I'm not going to take the album out and look at it and show it, but great album. Alright, this is one of my all-time favorites. To me, the period of Stone's great music was, no doubt, really, from about 68 to about 73, maybe 74. Basically the Mick Taylor years, to be honest with you. But towards the ass end of the Brian Jones. But around 1970, 1971, Sticky Fingers. Now, I know you want to cry. It's mangled. I get it. No problem. But I didn't care. It was $2. And it plays just fine. So, again, I know this is not up to your specifications, but again, if you have any Stones albums that are completely jacked up and you don't want them in your collection because they're not minty fresh, send them my direction. I will take them gladly off your hands. This to me is probably, again, the best albums to me, as most people would agree, would be, starting with Beggars Banquet, and then Let It Bleed was the next one. Sticky Fingers was next, Exile was next, and Goat's Head Soup was next. To me, Exile is number 1, no question about it. That is the ultimate rock and roll album because it has every element of rock and roll in. Definitely bluesy. And I mean, that's the raw, grittiest. Not a whole lot of hits, which makes it a really interesting album, double album. You have to listen to that album from start to finish. Grab yourself a beer, if you like weed, whatever it is, and just listen to that for the 90 minutes or so of the record. It's phenomenal. Second best, I'd have to say, God, it's either Sticky Fingers, I love this album, or Let It Bleed. It's probably a toss-up between those two. Let It Bleed's upstairs. I'm not going back up there and get it. But it's tough between those. Again, it'd be this one or Let It Bleed. And then Beggars Banquet. Although, to tell you the truth, Goat's Head Soup is a very underrated album to me. That might even beat Beggars Banquet for me. I think Goat's Head Soup I like a little bit better than Beggars Banquet, although it's a hell of an album. This, to me, is one of my favorite albums of all time from anybody. And this might even go right after those 5. And it's not even a standard album, it's a live album. To me, this is the greatest live album ever made. You can't say that about the Beatles, Mayo. Get your yayas out. This album rocks. I especially like the covers of Little Queenie and Carol by Chuck Berry. I mean, Mick Taylor is probably the most underrated guitarist ever. That guy wails, and Keith is just nasty on this. I don't know, they're awesome. This is a great album. And of course, the Holy Grail, baby. Exile on Main Street. This thing is heavy. It's like holding an anvil. So, this is the ultimate. I could do a whole video based off this album. This album, if you don't have this album, Mr. Mayo, shame on you. Shame on you. I think you gotta have this album. This would be like not having Sgt. Pepper if you were a Beatles fan. Come on, man. Some Girls. I know everyone likes this album. This is probably the last great album, 78. I like it. It's not my favorite. It's definitely in my top 10. It's a fantastic album. Don't get me wrong, but to me, it doesn't compare to those 5 albums I mentioned earlier. Beggars Banquet. Again, this one too is very mangled. I mean, this one has seen better days, but it's $3, buddy. And again, this is produced by Jimmy Miller. That's when they did their best stuff, I think. Stray Cat Blues, I love that song. Street Fighting Man, Sympathy for the Devil. I mean, this is a hell of an album. This is very very unique. You'll appreciate this because this is very... Girlfriend found this. This is the Rolling Stones Trident Demos, 1969. I'm not going to go into exactly what this is because it's taking a long time to explain. But it's basically a lot of the instrumentals for a lot of the music they end up doing later. They put it on different tracks. Really interesting. A lot of these I'd never heard of before. And a lot of them, some of them were just, again, demos. I mean, some of them weren't very good, but a lot of them were very interesting, actually. Very rare album. Very cool. Now, this is in good shape. So this is one of the few that I have that are actually in good shape. And this, I think this was done in Germany. Anyhow, doesn't matter. Next. This is also another interesting one because this is called, I don't even know if you've seen this before. I'd be curious to know if you've ever seen this. This is called the Rolling Stones Songbook. It's the Andrea Oldham, who was their first manager back in the 60s. The Andrea Oldham Orchestra. And it literally is a lot of their hits, Satisfaction, The Last Time, Heart of Stone, and Time Was on My Side. It literally is the 1965 original, and it's their songs instrumentally. It's just an orchestra playing their songs instrumentally, so there's no vocals, but really, really kind of cool. Different. Very different. December's, Children's, and Everybody's. This is a pretty good shape for $1. You gotta admit that. Get Off My Cloud, I'm Free, Tears Go By, I love that one. I'm Moving On. I want to say, is this, this might be the, I think some of these are live as well. This is a pretty damn good album also. I don't remember what year this was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Next. Another really cool one. This one was one of the ones I actually had to pay kind of a pretty penny for because it's just a rare one. This is a Live in France album. It was Charlie Watts' 35th birthday. Kind of cool. Again, this is sort of a bootleg. So this is a really cool album. I mean, again, it's hard to find these ones. This is a little rarer, so I pay a little bit of money for this one, a little bit of cash. I want to say, yeah, and this is, I think, my last record. Again, I have Let It Bleed up there, but this is It's Only Rock and Roll. I think this is what, 74? I want to say, yeah, 74. Great album. Again, this is the last record I believe that Mick Taylor was on. So to me, that hurt when Mick Taylor left the band. Of course, I love Ronnie Wood, but this was, I think this was the last album he was on. And I think Ronnie Wood joined the band in 75. So anyway, that is my Stones collection. I'm curious to know what you think about the Stones. I'm going to ask a trivia question for you and your viewers, because I know you get a lot of viewers who like to watch you as well. List your the five greatest live bands. And you had to have seen them. You had to have seen them. That's got to be the caveat. Because anyone can say that... I mean, look, I think Led Zeppelin's got to be in the top 5, but I've never actually seen them live. I've watched the Killer 2007 O2 Arena gig that they did. That was effing phenomenal. And to me, that puts them up there in the top 5 automatically. But let's just say that you had to have seen them. So, you know what? F that. You haven't had to see it. You can speculate, because I want to put Led Zeppelin in my top 5. So, you know. So let me tell you my top 5. Number 1, the Stones. You're going to notice that the Beatles are not on this. The Stones, number 1. I think Zeppelin's got to be 2. I hear a lot of stuff about Cheap Trick, but I've never really watched a lot of them live, so I'm not going to put them in my top 5. And I'm pulling this directly out of my ass, by the way. I might have to put... I've seen Kiss live, and they're pretty good, but I'm not putting them in my top 3. I tell you who I'm going to put in my top 3 that I have seen this summer, that I had no idea if they were going to be good live or not, because I heard, and nobody had seen them in years, but they came to this area. Guns N' Roses. I saw them play last year, and they blew me away. So Stones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for my top 5 concerts ever. But after that, Guns N' Roses. So I'd say Stones so far, Zeppelin, GNR, 3, and then 2 more. I saw Chuck Berry live. That was awesome. I'm gonna say AC/DC is great live also. They're phenomenal live. I'm gonna blow your mind with this one. This might be one you don't suspect. I'm gonna put Ted Nugent in my top 5 that I've seen. Ted Nugent is incredible live. He shreds. He's unbelievable. I love seeing Motley Crue. They're good live. I've never seen the Who live. I imagine they're amazing, even though I'm not a huge Who fan. But I'm going to go with, see, I have seen Kiss live, and they're pretty good. I've seen Def Leppard live, and they're outstanding also. But I'm going to have to say, oh man, I know I'm going to regret it. I'm going to forget somebody. I'm going to be pissed off because one of your viewers is going to say, what about them? And I'm going to look like an imbecile. I don't know. Five, we'll just throw Kiss in there. Screw it. Kiss. We'll put Kiss in there for top 5. I want to know what you think, Mr. Mayo. I'm very curious to hear what you think. And then if you want to do another one, I think another cool one would be do top 5 live albums of all time. Number 1 is my Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. I tell you another great live one to get you started. The 1974 David Bowie in Philadelphia concert is effing incredible. I put that on my record player and I jam that sometimes. That's an amazing album. The London Chuck Berry Sessions live album. This one is fantastic also. Just throwing a few your way. I tell you another one, again, it's another Stones album. Besides Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. The one that I showed you there was great. If you want, we got live if you want it. But Love 'Em Live, or Lovely Live, 1977 is a kick-ass live album also. They were really raw and gritty in that one. That was a good album. So anyway, I'll get you started, but this is a response to you. Thank you for your good work. Please continue your excellent service. Big fan, buddy. This is for you.